Yo, what's up, Mo back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Penn M&T versus Stanford. So for a little bit of context, if you're in M&T, usually your first or second choice is going to be Stanford. If you applied early decision, generally your second choice is going to be Stanford or maybe MIT. And if you applied regular decision, oftentimes your first choice was Stanford and you weren't admitted, or sometimes your first choice was M&T and you just didn't apply early decision for some reason. But I guess that happens. But anyway, so today we're going to be giving a little bit of context, and I'm going to give kind of my thoughts on the whole argument, as this was something that I kind of went through when I was deciding to apply to M&T over REAing to Stanford, or restrictive early actioning to Stanford. So I think let's just start with the culture, which is kind of one of the biggest difference between Penn and Stanford in general, not just M&T and Stanford. But in general, Stanford has a little bit more of a laid-back culture, a little bit more of let's soak up the sun and enjoy. Kind of when I visited Stanford just a couple of weeks ago, actually with M&T, we were in San Francisco, and essentially I kind of felt like the whole attitude and vibe at Stanford was let's go fountain hopping. You know, they basically bathe in the fountains for fun. Let's enjoy the sun. Let's, be relaxed and kind of explore and enjoy our 4 years of college. And that's definitely not the case at Penn. While people do enjoy their 4 years of college, it's definitely with a kind of professional or pre-professional kind of lens. Penn students generally think a lot more about their future, tend to think more about what job can I get? What route can I take to this job? Sophomore year, you have people applying for their junior year internships at Wharton. The investment banking pipeline is very strict. So you have a lot more pressure, especially just because of Wharton, and that permeates throughout the whole Penn campus. So I'd say that it's a good and bad in a sense. I think that the Penn culture is a little bit more suffocating, but honestly, there are definitely groups of people that are not sure what they want to do and are definitely on the more fun and exploratory side. But at Stanford, you have everyone kind of more laid back, little bit less cutthroat, although I don't really think Penn is cutthroat, but if there are cutthroat people, there are definitely more at Penn. And I think that that's kind of not really an advantage or disadvantage. It just depends on what you're looking for in a school and kind of how set you are on what you want to do post-college. So in that sense, I think Stanford's better if you want to explore a little bit more. And M&T is kind of hyper-specific, so if you know what you want to do, M&T is a great program for getting right where you want to get. And even if you don't know what you want to do, M&T is still a great program for kind of having pipelines into many popular industries. Moving on to some of those popular industries, let's talk about some of the things that Penn M&T more specifically excels at. M&T excels like leagues beyond Stanford in placing people into investment banking and consulting, although you can certainly get those jobs from Stanford just by having Wharton and having all those students going into investment banking, finance, going into consulting directly out of undergrad. Like, it's just, there's no competition with any school in the world undergrad for how many people Wharton puts on Wall Street. Of course, like I said, Stanford still puts people on Wall Street. Stanford still has people going to consulting at McKinsey and whatnot right out of undergrad. It's just that that's much more common from Wharton, especially being on the East Coast. You're much closer to that kind of Wall Street vibe. Being 2 hours from New York is a huge advantage. But on the flip side, Stanford has an advantage in tech. A lot more people will go into Silicon Valley. It's much closer to Stanford than it is to Penn, obviously. And a lot of people will be on the West Coast. You'll have more people going to SWE in general. Out of Stanford, you'll have more people going into random tech stuff, into random startups out of undergrad than you will at Penn and at M&T. Now, that's not to say there's still tons of people going into SWE from M&T, like a lot. But it's a little bit more concentrated in Stanford. And like I said, you also get that startup flavor, and there are fewer people going straight into startups out of undergrad from M&T specifically. Since the starting salaries you can get from M&T are so high with, SWE jobs or with SWE is like software engineering, I guess I should have specified. But with SWE jobs or with investment banking, it's a little bit less common to go into a startup where you're going to be taking less pay and trying to push technology. With that being said, both schools can do either one, and it's not like going to Stanford means you can't go into investment banking, or going to M&T means you can't go into software engineering or startups. And on that note, M&T is also better at placing people into project management roles, and this has to do with the Wharton side of things. If you're interested in kind of leading a project, being a manager with within engineers, or being an engineer and then also managing other engineers, M&T is definitely the program for that. Stanford, you can definitely go into a project management role at a lot of companies from Stanford, but M&T gives you that business background, gives you those management skills a little bit better, at least it's a little bit better on your resume. I guess it's debatable, since you're only taking 4 classes at Wharton, whether you actually learn those management skills. You take 4 classes for concentration at Wharton. It's debatable whether you actually learn those management skills, in school or you learn them on the field. But regardless, it's definitely easier to get into project management roles since it looks better on your resume to have kind of that business background. And that business background is really one of the biggest reasons that people choose M&T over Stanford. And this is more of a general thing. This isn't any specific career. But that business background that you get from M&T is like irreplaceable. You're going to be able to think in terms of business a little bit more than you are if you go to Stanford. Now, at Stanford, you can take graduate business classes as an undergraduate, and you have programs like the MS&E program at Stanford that kind of focus a little bit more on business. But Wharton's really going to get you into that business mindset if you want. There are a lot of classes you can take on whatever topic interests you at Wharton, and you're going to get a lot more of that business flavor at Wharton, and you're just going to be exposed to it. The people around you are going to be more in that business mindset. So even if you're not learning it directly from your classes, you're definitely going to be feeling that kind of business, like Sharky sense, just at the school. And I think that applies to all of Penn. Even people in the College of Arts and Sciences, I feel like, get affected by the Wharton bug and kind of that permeating culture. And they kind of go into things like consulting and finance, even without degrees from Wharton. So I would say that if you're more interested in the business side, or you want to do something purely business, or even just you want kind of some business expertise and like qualitative skills from some of those business classes that you're able to take, or even quantitative skills, you can take finance classes and things like that. If you have some interest in business and want to go into it, Wharton is just leagues better overall for kind of everything. I mean, it is a business school and Stanford doesn't have a business school. And that's really one of the biggest differences between the programs. On the flip side, the advantage Stanford gives for not having those business classes is that you just don't take those extra classes. So Stanford, you can graduate with way fewer credits than you can doing a dual degree. And that's kind of one of the biggest kind of drawbacks, I would say, of M&T is that you have to take 46 classes minimum, or 46 credits rather. Some classes are worth 1. In general, classes are worth 1, some are worth 1.5, some are half credit. But in general, you have to take so many classes that you're going to have less time to focus on some of your extracurriculars, or maybe a startup. Now, that's not to say that you can't do your extracurriculars and a startup while taking all those classes. It's just that you have to be really good with time management skills, and you kind of have to pick your classes wisely, whereas you're going to have a little bit of added flexibility at Stanford. Now, that being said, you're trading that free time for, more classes you could take and more knowledge you could gain at Penn, and you're still gaining that kind of like 2-degree level of knowledge at Penn. So you're going to be learning a lot through those classes. It just depends on how you think you want to use your free time, or you're going to use your free time. And some people might think, I guess, you have less time to socialize with friends by going to Penn, taking those extra classes. And while that might be true in a sense, you'll have less time to kind of like hang out with friends, go to like lunches, dinners, whatever. I do think that you're going to make friends through your classes, and those are kind of some of the most, I don't know, there's just something about going through it with your friends and being on the edge of in a class and working through it together really hard and kind of getting through it together. I think that really builds lasting friendships. And I think that you get that a lot at Penn. Even though people say it's cutthroat, I really don't think it is. And you really have this environment of a lot of people that want to help and a couple of people that are cutthroat, who are trying to recruit and for some reason want to bring down others with them. And those people are kind of what gives Wharton some of this reputation, which I don't think is true. Most people want to help you. Same is true for any college, I think. But with that being said, I think that at Penn, taking more classes isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that it depends on how you use your time, as I mentioned. Now coming to, I think, one of the biggest benefits of M&T and kind of what brought me to the program. And that really has to do with community. So like I said, kind of Penn has a reputation, but I wouldn't buy into it. And M&T certainly does not have this reputation, in my opinion. M&T is a class of, 50, 60 students a year. And you're going to have this kind of dedicated cohort of people that you can draw from, that you can meet, that are going to have similar interests to you. And you're also going to have your own building. You're going to have dedicated staff, 5 dedicated staff that are going to spend time with you, that are going to help. Gosh. Let's talk about one of the biggest advantages of M&T in my opinion. So, as I mentioned, Penn kind of has this reputation for being cutthroat, which I don't think is true, but M&T certainly does not have that reputation. You get a class size of 50 to 60 students to kind of bond with, that you're going to be majoring in the same thing. They're going to often share similar interests, and they're going to be really talented students that are hand-selected by the M&T staff for the most part, and, I might be an exception here. But they're also going to be students that you're kind of going to go through a lot of the same classes with, since they're going to often be the same major. And you're also going to get dedicated staff. You're going to have 5 dedicated staff that are going to help you through whatever you need throughout your undergrad experience. You're going to have a lot more focused attention at M&T. You're going to have your own building. And you're going to have all these benefits of just having this sub-community within the school of people with similar interests. Now, I'm not saying you can't find that at any other school. There are definitely clubs and things that have people with, similar interests, but M&T is going to have, resources, money, staff, things like kind of grants, or just, all these connections that are going to help you very directly. And I think that that's the biggest draw for M&T over Stanford. And it's kind of the reason why I chose it. Rather than being one of 1,500 in a year, you're one of 50 or one of, 55. And you're still one of 2,500 at Penn. You still have that larger Penn community that you can draw from, that you can learn from, and you can meet all sorts of cool people. But you are going to have this dedicated community where you can meet really cool people who frequently are doing the same things you're doing and are able to mentor you through your undergrad experience. And you have a very strong network through M&T. Now, don't get me wrong, the Stanford network is extremely strong, so is the Penn. And Penn alumni will frequently want to help Penn alumni. Stanford alumni do the same. And any Ivy League definitely has a strong network. In general, or any top 10 school. But M&T has a network of 20, I think it's up to 2,300 students or so, or alumni that are extra willing to help, kind of because you're an M&T and because there's so few people in the program, and you guys went through the same thing, the kind of difficulty that I was talking about of doing 2 degrees and struggling through those classes. They understand that struggle and they're very willing to help. And M&T alumni are super connected with M&T for the most part, and they come and do talks and are willing to mentor. And there's M&T alumni in every kind of field you could imagine. Now, this applies to Stanford, but I believe that having that extra alumni network of M&T is an advantage since you're getting the Penn alumni network anyway, which has people sprawling through every industry. But you have the M&T alumni network, which has a lot of people doing pretty much anything you could imagine. And if you're in M&T, it's very likely that you have similar interests to the graduates of M&T since they had similar majors. And you're very likely to find alumni that'll help. And I think that, like I said, this contributes to that community aspect that M&T has over Stanford. Now, flipping it back to Stanford, I think Stanford has better name recognition overall, especially if you're going into software engineering jobs and you're applying to things like Google. Now, don't get me wrong, Penn and M&T have great name at a bunch of companies, including Google actually. Bunch of M&T grads have gone to a lot of different companies, and especially if you want to work in finance circles, it's definitely more, it's definitely known, the Wharton name is known by itself. M&T specifically is known in a lot of companies. People meet an M&T grad and they're like, wow, this kid is really smart. To do 2 degrees, you generally have to put in a lot more work. Doesn't mean that everyone is smarter, but they have a perceived smartness just kind of for doing 2 degrees frequently. With that being said, Stanford has overall more recognition. Just the layman knows Stanford a lot better than M&T. But I would argue that for most of the jobs you're applying for, or most of the circles where it matters, people are going to know what M&T is, or at least are going to know what Penn is and what Wharton is at the very least. And I wouldn't say it's a huge advantage, but if you're going into tech, Stanford is a better name. If you're going into VC specifically, Stanford is a better name. There are VCs from M&T, like I mentioned. Both these schools are so great that you can really do anything from either of them. And it's just more common to kind of do a certain type of job from one of them. And it might be easier to do a certain type of job from one of them. But in general, Stanford's going to be better for VCs, especially with Silicon Valley so close. You just have so many VCs coming out of Stanford. It just is a trend for the school. With that being said, I think that kind of M&T is really a great program for whatever you want to do, because you can do these 2 degrees you can really mold it to whatever you want. Stanford, you can mold to whatever you want, but like M&T, you kind of have this added flexibility because you're taking so many classes, you're learning so much, and you can say I have experience in so many different fields. Whereas at Stanford, you might be a little bit more restricted into your major and have taken fewer classes and gotten exposed to fewer kind of breadths of things. That is, it depends on really what classes you take. And it depends on what you do in your free time. Like I said, if you do a lot of cool extracurriculars in your free time projects, then you might be exposed to more things just through that at Stanford or whatever school you go to. And I think kind of the final point here is at the end of the day, you can't really go wrong with either school. Now, obviously, I picked M&T, and I don't regret my decision. I'm very happy at M&T, but I think that both schools are great. Both schools have drawbacks. And you're never gonna like truly find everything you want at one school, and it's kind of, you're gonna have to make these compromises. Like for example, I was at Stanford and some people were complaining that, oh, the sunny weather is like, gets boring and there's nothing to do around Palo Alto. And then you go to Penn and people complain, oh, Stanford is so pretty. It's like Penn is like, so like the city is just so dirty and like no one likes it, and I want sun and I'm tired of like rain and cloud. And it's just, you're never going to be happy. I mean, like, you can be happy, but like people are just never content. So I think that in the end of the day, you can't really go wrong with either decision. They're both great schools. And I personally chose M&T for that individualized attention. But I think that if you have more of a focus in, even if you do have a focus in like software engineering and like research and like that kind of like hard engineering, Penn is honestly great at engineering. It's still an Ivy, and it's not like the highest ranked by like US News and World Reports, but I think like rankings are like pretty much fake anyway. Not literally fake, but like the difference between the like 20th and the 22nd school are like basically no difference. And like Penn has a great program. I really think you can't go wrong with either for almost any job that you want to do, and it's really what you make of it at the end of the day. That being said, I chose M&T, and my bias is a little bit towards that program. However, I do think that there are advantages in situations where it's better to go to Stanford, and I personally have a friend my year who chose Stanford over M&T, and I don't think he regrets that decision. I think he actually regrets not going to MIT more than Stanford or M&T. But that's beside the point. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope this shone some light on kind of the, different schools. I know there aren't many videos like this, and I wanted to kind of make a video since this was a decision that I was struggling with when I was trying to apply to schools. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.